Before any coin leaves your hand, before any note is handed over, before a single transaction is made, pause, breathe, and remember, money is not leaving you. It is circulating. It is flowing through divine channels, only to return to you doubled, increased, and multiplied by the laws of the Spirit. There is no loss in divine mind. There is only multiplication, restoration, and infinite supply. What you give out with faith, you receive back with grace. Say this before you spend. Every dollar I spend returns to me doubled. What I give, I receive. I am one with the substance of God, and money flows to me easily, effortlessly, and continuously. This is not just a saying. It is a spiritual law. It is a divine decree. It is your word spoken into the ethers, calling forth the harvest before the seed even leaves your hand. Let your vibration be one of abundance, not lack. Let your consciousness speak of overflow, not limitation. When you pay, pay with joy. When you give, give with faith. When you release money into the world, do not see it as a loss. See it as a seed that is returning to you through unexpected channels, from seen and unseen sources. The Spirit knows no restrictions. The divine knows no barriers. Your supply is unlimited when you align your words, your faith, and your heart. So now, before you spend any money, speak boldly, speak believing. This money is coming back to me doubled. The universe rushes to return it. I am a magnet for divine increase. I trust the law. I walk in faith. I speak prosperity, and prosperity speaks back to me. You are not spending. You are sending. You are not releasing in fear. You are planting in faith. And what you plant in the invisible, you will harvest in the visible. The law works. The word works. Your declaration sets the law of circulation in motion. Trust that it is already done. You are blessed. You are supported. You are divinely provided for. And so it is. Money is not lost when it leaves your hand. It is transformed. It is set in motion, and it begins its divine journey back to you. It is not something that disappears into the void. It is energy, and like all energy, it flows, it moves, it responds to consciousness. When you understand that money is spiritual substance in action, you stop fearing its departure. You no longer cling tightly in anxiety, nor hesitate in mistrust. Instead, you allow it to flow through you, just as the breath flows, just as life itself flows. For every breath out, there is a breath in. For every dollar that goes forth with your blessing, a multiplied return is already on its way back. The mistake most people make is believing that spending money means losing money. But in divine mind, there is no loss. There is only circulation. There is only expansion. When you treat money like a servant of fear, it will flee. But when you treat it as an obedient tool of spirit, it will return with friends. You are not here to hoard out of lack. You are here to move in trust. The more you allow money to flow freely with wisdom and joy, the more you prove to the universe that you understand how energy moves, and the universe mirrors that understanding with increase. Do not say, I am losing this money. Instead say, I am circulating divine substance, and it is returning to me in greater form. You are not at the mercy of the world's economy. You are under the law of divine abundance. You live under grace and not under law. There is a higher order at work when you spend with spiritual understanding. That order knows multiplication, not subtraction. It knows return, not regret. When you look at the money in your hand, before you spend it, bless it, speak to it. Recognize it not as paper or coin, but as the physical expression of invisible abundance. It came from a divine source and is returning to a divine destination. Whether it is used for groceries, bills, or gifts, if released with a heart full of faith and a mouth full of truth, it begins a cycle that never ends in emptiness. You must remember that fear freezes flow. Every thought of lack, Every internal tightening, every worried hesitation puts a block in the stream of your supply. But faith opens the gates, gratitude opens the gates, joyful expectation opens the gates. So when money goes out, do not contract in fear, expand in confidence. Expand in the knowing that you are aligned with the law of circulation, and the law never fails. What you release in faith must return, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Let your spirit be calm when you give. Let your thoughts be filled with light when you spend. Let your emotions remain steady in the knowing that nothing good ever truly leaves you. It only changes form before coming back richer. You are not disconnected from Source. You are an extension of it, and because you are one with the infinite, your supply is infinite. Each time you spend, remember this: the energy of what you give carries the instruction of what shall come. Give in trust, and receive in divine timing. Let your financial actions reflect your spiritual truth. You are not spending money. You are releasing energy into a perfect, abundant, responsive universe. What leaves your lips before you release money matters as much as what leaves your hand. Your word is not a small thing. It is a mighty force that shapes the direction of your life, including your finances. Before the money even moves, your tongue has already told it what to do. Words carry vibration, and vibration determines manifestation. Every time you spend, every time you give, every time you let money move through you, your spoken word plants the instruction in the spiritual soil, and the instruction must be fulfilled. When you say, "This money returns to me doubled," you are not making a hopeful wish, you are declaring spiritual law. You are setting into motion a divine cause that brings a divine effect. Too many people spend money with words of fear. They say, "There goes my last," or "I hope this is enough," or "This will drain me." And so it becomes true, not because it had to be, but because their words shaped the outcome. You cannot speak lack and expect overflow. You cannot prophesy poverty and expect prosperity. The words you speak before you spend are like the blueprint for what will come next. If you design lack, lack is what you will build. But if you design increase, increase is what must return. There is a spiritual precision to this. Your voice is not just sound, it is authority. You have been given dominion through your declaration. Every dollar you spend listens to your instruction. Every transaction you make in the physical is a transaction first initiated in the invisible. Your words are the currency of the unseen. When you say, "I give joyfully and this comes back multiplied," you are issuing a command to the energy of money itself. You are blessing your flow instead of blocking it. You are sending it out like a boomerang, knowing it has no choice but to return carrying more. Money has ears. It hears what you say about it. If you call it hard to find, it hides. If you call it evil, it avoids you. If you treat it like a stranger, it does not stay long. But if you speak to it as your servant, your friend, your divine tool, it begins to obey. Speak to it kindly. Speak with confidence. Speak with spiritual authority. Say, "This money is part of the infinite supply. It knows its way back to me. It is only changing form for a moment, but it is never gone. It returns blessed, increased, and multiplied." Each word is a seed, and the universe is the soil. The words you speak before you spend determine the harvest you will receive. Nothing is accidental. Nothing is wasted. When you choose your words, you choose your outcome. The divine responds to your declaration with precision. That is why you must become intentional with every phrase, every sentence, every silent thought wrapped around your spending. Money is not just a tool in your hand. It is an echo of your inner world. Whatever you say about it, it repeats back to you in form. Do not speak lack when you spend. Do not speak fear when you give. Do not speak regret when you release. Say only what you desire to experience. Say what aligns with abundance. Say what makes heaven respond. Say, "This returns to me doubled. I live under divine law. My supply is constant. I speak life over my money, and it listens. Let your voice go before your money. Let it carve the path of return. Let it proclaim what you want, not what you fear. Because in this universe governed by law, your word is the first wealth you ever hold. There is no such thing as true loss in the mind of the infinite. What appears to be gone is only temporarily out of sight, moving through spiritual channels designed to bless you beyond what your eyes can see. When money leaves your hand with faith, it does not vanish. It obeys a higher law. It enters the divine system of return. You may think you've spent it. You may feel like something has been subtracted. But in truth, it has only shifted into the invisible realm to be multiplied and returned in perfect form and timing. Just as a seed disappears into the soil before it breaks forth as harvest, so does your money transform when sown in trust. When you spend or give with the spiritual understanding that nothing is ever lost, you remove yourself from the illusions of fear. You no longer say, "This money is gone," but instead affirm, "This is money in motion, destined to return greater than before." Spirit does not operate on subtraction. It operates on expansion. And when you act from that truth, you become immune to the panic of the world. The world may speak of lack, inflation, downturns, and scarcity, but divine mind knows only increase, multiplication, and provision. And it is this mind that you are one with, not the mind of man, but the mind of God. Every time you release money with the consciousness of increase, you are partaking in a divine economy that cannot fail. What leaves must return. What you release in trust is not a loss, but a signal to the universe that you are in alignment with divine law. You are not grasping, hoarding, or fearing. You are trusting, flowing, and allowing. And because you trust, you are trusted. The universe begins to move in your favor, arranging circumstances, creating channels, delivering opportunities that match the vibration of your faith. There is no need to chase what is already assigned to you. When you understand that nothing good can ever truly leave your life, you stop fearing the movement of money. You start to welcome it. You speak to it with assurance, knowing that it knows the way back. It is not gone. It is gathering. It is being blessed, multiplied, and rerouted with your name already attached. When you believe this, you move through life differently. You spend differently. You give differently. You hold money differently, not as something fragile, but as something faithful. So when money flows out, smile with spiritual confidence. It is not escaping you. It is obeying you. It is returning to the source from which it came, only to find its way back to you through better channels, bigger doors, and unexpected blessings. Nothing is ever lost in divine mind. What belongs to you by right of divine consciousness can never be permanently taken from you. What appears to be gone is only in process, not in absence. What you release in alignment with truth is never wasted. It is multiplied. You live under a law that never forgets, never misplaces, never diminishes your good. It knows exactly what is yours, and it is always bringing it back, often pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Even when you can't trace it, you must trust it. Even when you can't see how it returns, you must affirm that it will, because your faith, not your sight, is the contract with the invisible. And through that faith, you declare that nothing is ever lost, only transformed, only increased, only delayed so it may return better than you imagined. The way you release money determines the shape it takes on its return. It is not only about how much you give or spend, but the spirit in which you do it. Joy opens portals that fear cannot enter. Guilt contracts what joy expands. When you give with joy, you affirm that you trust the source. You declare with your energy that the supply is not your possession but your expression. an infinite stream flowing through you, not to you. And when you move in joy, you align with divine rhythm. You join the dance of abundance, where every step forward returns with music, every gesture of faith returns with harmony. The vibration behind your giving carries your instruction to the universe. If you give with a heavy heart, the message you send is one of separation, lack, and resistance. But when you give with joy, you create a resonance that attracts increase. Joy speaks the language of heaven. It signals readiness. It says, I know there is more. I give from fullness. I do not fear the flow, for the source is never empty. The joyful giver does not count coins with trembling hands. The joyful giver knows that what leaves with gladness returns with multiplication. Even when the amount feels small, joy makes it mighty. Even if all you have is little, when it is given with light, it carries the weight of divine intention. There is a power in the cheerful release of money that cannot be measured by man's economy. Heaven measures not the size of your giving, but the frequency of your heart, and in that frequency, all things are added. When you move with joy, the law of increase answers back. When you spend with delight instead of dread, the universe interprets your energy as faith, and faith is always rewarded. It is not the act alone, but the atmosphere of the act that calls forth your harvest. That is why you must give and spend with awareness. Be conscious of the tone in your spirit when money moves. Let it be one of celebration, not burden. Let it be one of gratitude, not regret, because that vibration becomes the mold from which your return is formed. If you give in guilt, you magnetize lack. But if you give in joy, you draw back more of the same light you released. Even when your circumstances seem uncertain, joy is the way out. Joy is the bridge. Joy is not denial of reality. It is the declaration of a higher reality. Joy says, I do not rely on what I see. I trust in what I know. My source is infinite. And from that place your giving becomes sacred. It is no longer a transaction. It becomes a spiritual offering, a seed planted not in earth, but in divine law. And this law does not forget a joyful seed. So allow your heart to be light as money leaves your hand. Let there be laughter in your spirit, even as you release. Let every transaction become a testimony of your belief in abundance. Speak life over your giving. Infuse it with gratitude. Wrap it in joy. Say, I give from overflow. I spend in faith. I am cheerful in all circulation, and this cheerfulness returns to me multiplied. You are not at the mercy of the numbers. You are under the law of joy, and joy is the magnet of more. You release not because you must, but because you trust. You give not because you're afraid to lose, but because you know that joy unlocks increase. And this knowing creates the environment for miracles to flow freely, just as you have allowed money to flow freely, with gladness and grace. There is a silent truth that governs all supply. It is your inner consciousness that shapes your outer experience. Money is not the master. It is the mirror. It reflects back the state of your belief, the condition of your mind, the tone of your heart. You do not receive according to the effort of your labor alone, but according to the vibration of your faith. When you shift your inner posture into trust, knowing that you are connected to the infinite reservoir of good, your financial world must follow. The change always begins within. Every outward breakthrough is born from an inward realization. Your consciousness is the blueprint. If you believe that money is scarce, difficult and hard to hold, that becomes the pattern etched into your energetic field, and money obeys that pattern. But if you believe that money flows easily, joyfully and continuously, you set a new mold for the spirit to fill. Divine substance is formless, until shaped by thought and feeling. It is waiting for your instruction. It is listening to the frequency of your belief. The more you affirm abundance inwardly, the more life must arrange itself to reflect that truth. You do not need to chase what you are aligned with. You do not need to beg for what you already possess in spirit. When your consciousness says, "I have more than enough," the world echoes back in form. When your heart radiates certainty, your experiences begin to rise and match your inner knowing. You are not trying to get rich. You are awakening to the wealth that already lives within. You are not grasping for security. You are standing on the truth that divine supply is your birthright. It is not a matter of luck or chance. It is a matter of alignment. To believe that your wealth is limited to your salary, or your job is to forget who your true source is. Your job is only one channel, not the creator of your supply. When you place your consciousness in alignment with the Creator, you open yourself to unlimited channels. Unexpected gifts, divine appointments, multiplied returns, all become possible when your inner world is flooded with faith instead of fear. Your financial condition is not fixed, it is fluid, always moving with the direction of your dominant thought. So tend to your inner garden with intention. Watch the thoughts you entertain, the beliefs you rehearse, the words you repeat. Speak of yourself as abundant. Think of yourself as richly provided for. Know within your soul that money is drawn to your energy, not your desperation. Prosperity is not a possession, it is a vibration. It cannot stay where it is resented, feared, or doubted. It lives where it is welcomed, honored, and believed in. The Spirit seeks out faith like water seeks the lowest point. It flows where there is surrender, not struggle. And when you begin to shift inwardly, everything around you begins to respond. Doors open without force. Opportunities arise without striving. Provision comes from directions you did not even consider. All because your consciousness now says, "I am worthy, I am ready, I am aligned." What you receive is always in harmony with what you believe. So believe deeply, believe consistently, believe joyfully. Every moment you spend in inner certainty plants seeds in the outer world. Every affirmation you speak with faith forms the structure of your future supply. It is not about controlling the outside, but commanding the inside. And from that place of command, quiet, spiritual, unwavering, your world bends to accommodate your truth. Your wealth begins as a decision in consciousness, and that decision sends a signal to the universe that cannot return void. Before you let money move from your hand, let your spirit speak. Let the invisible go before the visible. Every act of spending is not just an earthly transaction, it is a spiritual agreement. And what activates that agreement is your spoken word. Words are not casual sounds. They are laws declared. They are containers of faith. When you open your mouth and speak truth into the moment, you command the energy that shapes the future. You are not a passive participant in your financial life. You are the author, the prophet, the co-creator with the divine. What you say before you spend sets the vibration of what will return. It is not enough to hold belief silently. You must release it in sound. You must speak with authority that flows from knowing who you are and who your source is. When you say, "I release this money in joy," knowing it returns to me doubled through divine channels, you are not simply hoping, you are instructing. You are aligning your mind, body, and spirit with the law of return. You are calling forth your harvest even as you let go of the seed. And the law must obey, because it is written, "Your word shall not return unto you void, but it shall accomplish what you send it to do." Spending with silence leaves room for doubt, but spending with declaration fills the atmosphere with certainty. It creates a pathway for divine movement. It shifts the energy from chance to choice, from reaction to creation. Your declaration becomes the stamp of faith on your transaction. It tells the universe, this is not a loss, this is a loop. What leaves now circles back, multiplied and blessed. And the universe, governed by divine intelligence, responds not to emotion alone, but to the precision of spoken truth. Do not underestimate the power of these words. They are not empty affirmations, they are spiritual instructions. When you speak them with belief, they activate the unseen forces that arrange circumstances in your favor. You may not see how it returns. You may not know the route, but your words release angels into motion. They break delays. They open doors. They magnetize money that already exists in the realm of the spirit and guide it into the realm of form. You are not spending, you are sending. You are sending your money on a mission. And just like a well-trained servant, it returns carrying what you asked for. So do not send it out confused. Do not send it out wrapped in fear or frustration. Send it out with clarity, with joy, with a clear command that it is to return increased, doubled, overflowing with divine favor. Speak with the confidence of one who knows that spiritual law is always in effect, that the invisible is more real than the visible, and that your voice carries the weight of divine authority. The moment you speak before you spend, you shift the experience from ordinary to sacred. You no longer see money as a temporary possession, but as an eternal servant of spirit. You begin to live in the knowing that money moves in obedience to your word, that it goes where you send it and comes where you call it, that it listens to your energy, your intention, and your vibration. And so you speak, before you spend, not as a ritual, but as a rightful act of creation. You speak as one who understands that the universe is waiting on instruction, and that your voice is the signal that sets all things in motion. Faith does not chase. Faith does not beg. Faith does not grasp at what already belongs to it. Faith commands. Faith expects. Faith knows. Once your word has been spoken and the energy released, your role is no longer to wonder how or when. It is to trust that what you declared is already in motion. There is a divine intelligence greater than logic, a sacred timing beyond calendars, and a spiritual current more precise than any plan. And when you let go of control, you allow this power to do its work. The return may not come through the channel you imagine, but it will come through the channel that aligns with your highest good. You do not need to trace every step of the return. You are not called to be the architect of the journey, only the author of the word. Once you speak in faith, this money returns to me doubled through divine channels. You have sent the signal. Now you must rest in the knowing that it is being answered in full. Doubt disturbs what faith secures. When you question the timing, you disrupt the flow. When you lean on understanding instead of trust, you slow what is already on its way. Spirit does not move through worry, it moves through surrender. Let the law do what it does. Let the universe orchestrate the return in its perfect rhythm. You may not see the wind that carries the seed, but the tree will grow in its season. In the same way, the money you send out with faith is now carried by spiritual forces unseen, arranging, preparing, aligning every necessary detail for its multiplied return. And your only task now is to remain in joyful expectation, not anxiety, not obsession, not constant checking, but joyful, peaceful knowing that what is yours cannot miss you. The unseen realm does not forget. Every word you speak in alignment with truth is recorded in spirit and returned in form. Every time you spend with affirmation, every time you give in joy, every time you declare abundance, a transaction is initiated in the invisible. And in the invisible, nothing is ever lost. There is no delay in divine mind, only divine preparation. What seems like waiting is often refining. What appears slow is often building. And when the return finally arrives, it will be better than the form you imagined, because it came through the wisdom of spirit and not the limits of your logic. So you let go, not out of weakness, but out of strength. You stop asking how it will come, and instead you prepare for its arrival. You hold the vibration of one who trusts the law. You walk with the energy of one who has already received, because in the realm of spirit it is already done. Your belief is the bridge, and your patience is the path. And the more you rest in divine assurance, the faster the form finds you. Do not try to manipulate the flow. Do not try to force a method. The universe has ways you've never dreamed of, channels you've never seen, people you've never met, and timing more precise than anything you could plan. Your work is to remain open, not attached, aligned, not anxious, available, not afraid. Keep your vibration high, keep your words aligned, keep your faith steady, because while you've let go of the how and when, you have never let go of the truth. And that truth continues to call forth the multiplied return of what you released with joy, spoken with authority, and trusted without condition. There is a sacred principle hidden in plain sight. What you spend is never lost when you see it as a seed. Every dollar, every cent, every transaction you make in faith is a divine planting. It may look like it left your hand, but in truth, it entered the soil of spiritual law. And just like any seed placed in the ground, it disappears for a moment, not to die, but to multiply. You do not mourn the seed when it leaves your palm, because you understand that it is becoming something greater. So too must you regard every act of spending, giving, or investing in divine order as a spiritual sowing, one that guarantees a harvest. This is where your trust must deepen. You no longer see money as something spent, gone, or subtracted. You see it as something sent, planted, and divinely assigned. And before you plant it, you speak to it. You charge it with intention. You affirm its return. You do not release it silently, for a silent seed lacks instruction. You declare, "You are returning to me doubled." You are opening doors. You are parting seas. You are gathering increase in places I cannot see. And that seed, now infused with divine word, has no choice but to fulfill its assignment. The world may look at spending as an expense, but you look with spiritual eyes. You look and see the invisible. You understand that the material world is only one layer of the truth. Beneath the surface of every transaction is a spiritual transaction, a covenant of trust, an exchange of faith. You are not diminished when you spend in alignment with truth. You are expanded, because you are not reacting to a temporary number in a bank account. You are responding to a permanent truth written in your spirit. There is always more where this came from. And so you release money not in fear but in fullness. You release it not in desperation, but in dominion. You tell it where to go, what to do, how to return. You treat it as a servant of the Spirit, obedient and loyal. You no longer panic when it flows out. You praise. You bless. You prophesy over what looks like subtraction, and you transform it into multiplication. Because you know the truth, a seed only seems small until it becomes a harvest. A dollar only seems insignificant until it returns as an open door, a divine connection, an unexpected provision. Let your soul rest in this rhythm. Let your heart trust this law. What you plant with faith cannot fail. What you release in spiritual alignment cannot disappear. The earth responds to the seed. The universe responds to the spoken word. And the spirit responds to the intention behind both. That is why you must keep your energy clean when you give. Release without regret. Sow without sorrow. Bless what leaves you, because you know it is coming back richer. Every seed has its own time, and every financial seed you plant with joy is already under the care of divine timing. You don't need to force it. You don't need to dig it up and worry. You speak over it once, and you trust the law to do what it was made to do. You've already given it its mission. It's already carrying your frequency. It's already on the way back to you, transformed into something greater than you imagined. And you walk forward not empty but expectant, because your seed is never lost. It is only growing. There comes a moment in the journey of divine prosperity where every act involving money transforms from a mundane transaction into a sacred expression. When you no longer see spending as separation but as spiritual alignment, you begin to honor every movement of money as holy. You understand that giving is not loss, and circulation is not emptiness. It is divine rhythm. In this space, spending becomes a form of prayer, and giving becomes an act of trust. You do not move money anymore just with your hand. You move it with your consciousness. You bless it. You honor it. You send it out with love, gratitude, and expectation, because you now know it is not what you spend, but the spirit in which you spend it, that determines its return. When the heart is filled with fear, money stiffens and retreats. But when the heart is filled with faith, money flows like a river. It finds its way back to where it was honored. So you begin to release every dollar with a blessing. You are sent in faith. You are part of the divine plan. You are returning with increase. This is not a superstition. This is law. The law of divine circulation requires that what is given with faith and joy must return with multiplication. And so you no longer panic when you pay. You do not dread when you give. You recognize the sacredness of the moment and allow peace to flow through you, because you have trained your spirit to trust. And this is why your spending becomes sacred, because the energy you carry at the moment of release echoes into the universe. It does not dissolve into silence. It echoes into manifestation. The way you speak over your money, the way you feel as you let it go, creates the frequency that builds your next financial experience. The energy behind your action matters more than the amount. Even the smallest act of giving, if released in love, returns tenfold. Even the simplest bill paid in gratitude becomes the key to unlocking greater provision. You begin to understand that every time you interact with money, you are having a conversation with the universe. What you feel in those moments is what the universe remembers. So you choose to feel abundance, even when giving. You choose to feel joy, even when releasing. You choose to feel rich, even when the number looks small, because you now know that the outer world is only catching up to what you already know in spirit. You are not just a spender of money, you are a carrier of divine energy, and every transaction becomes a message. I am not afraid, I am aligned. I am taken care of. In this consciousness, even your expenses bless you. Even your outflows increase you. Even your obligations become opportunities. Because your energy no longer resists circulation. It flows with it. You no longer see money as coming to you from people, jobs, or accounts. You see it as coming from source, merely using temporary channels. You bless every channel, but you trust the source. And that trust keeps you steady, even as money flows in and out. You do not grip, because you are grounded. You do not fear, because you are full. You do not mourn what leaves, because you celebrate what is coming. Everything you give now is wrapped in intention. Every payment is a seed. Every gift is a declaration. Every circulation of money is now a reflection of your spiritual maturity. You are no longer moved by numbers. You are moved by truth, and the truth is that divine supply never runs out. So you give from that place. You spend from that place. You live from that place. And from that vibration all things are added unto you without effort or strain, because you have made the circulation of money a sacred extension of your faith. And as this spiritual rhythm of circulation deepens within you, something even greater begins to take form. You no longer seek to possess money. You seek to partner with it. You are not trying to hold it tight. You are inviting it to walk with you in purpose. Because now, money is not just a means, it is a message. It is no longer a tool of survival, but a signal of service. And the more you release it with reverence, the more you realize it always comes back with divine assignment. It does not return empty. It returns with more power, more provision, and more purpose. It returns aligned with your vision. It returns to bless not just your hands, but the hands of others who are tied to your calling. This is where your divine identity awakens, not in how much you gather, but in how consciously you circulate. Because true abundance is not accumulation, it is alignment. You are not here to hoard money in fear of lack. You are here to command it with faith in source. And so you live in a vibration that declares, I am a vessel of divine wealth. I am safe to give. I am worthy to receive. I am made to overflow. This frequency opens gates that logic cannot explain. Money begins to appear from sources you forgot, from places you never expected, from people you never imagined, because your soul has sent out a signal that you are ready not just to receive for yourself, but to multiply for the good of others. This is the divine circulation at its highest. You no longer calculate blessings. You channel them. You don't wonder if there's enough. You remember that you are connected to the infinite, and so your financial atmosphere shifts. You begin to walk with the calm of someone already provided for. You pay with confidence. You give with joy. You release without regret, because every act is a confirmation of trust. Every transaction says, I remember who my source is. I remember who I am. I remember that wealth flows through me, not to trap me, but to bless everything I touch. You begin to bless not just what you give, but what you keep. You bless the food you buy, the clothes you wear, the bills you pay, the hands you help, the dreams you fund. Nothing is casual anymore. Every dollar is given divine instruction. Every coin knows its mission. Every seed knows where to root and when to return. And because you are now a conscious partner with the divine flow, you receive not as a beggar but as an heir. You do not plead for provision. You expect it, because you live in the vibration of provision. There is a peace in this posture, a peace that can't be shaken by temporary appearances, a peace that laughs at scarcity and praises in the midst of transition, a peace that moves you from survival to stewardship. You no longer fear the flow. You no longer resist the release, because everything that leaves you returns brighter, bigger and more blessed. You now see money as divine movement, always circulating, always responding, always reflecting the level of your faith and the clarity of your intention. You are no longer bound by numbers. You are free in spirit, and from this freedom, everything multiplies. So now you rise each day, not wondering if money will come, but knowing how it will come, by divine law, through divine timing, in divine measure. You do not chase wealth, because you are aligned with its frequency. You do not fear lack, because you are anchored in source. And before you spend a single coin, you speak with power. This money returns to me multiplied. It is blessed and it blesses all it touches. That sacred declaration becomes your agreement with the universe. You've stepped out of the old cycle of worry and into the new rhythm of divine flow. You are no longer spending, you are planting. You are no longer hoping, you are trusting. You are no longer waiting, you are receiving. For every act of faith opens a gate in the unseen. Every word you speak becomes a magnet. Every seed you release carries your signature of trust, and the universe cannot help but respond. Money returns to you, pressed down, shaken together, running over not because you forced it, but because you finally flowed with it. This is the law. This is the promise. This is the power of divine circulation. And you, beloved, are now the living proof.
Beloved one, close your eyes and know that in this very moment, you are standing at the gates of abundance. Spirit is here, and all that is yours by divine right is flowing toward you. Take a deep breath, inhale peace, and exhale every shadow of fear, every memory of lack, every anxious thought. It is melting away. Inhale again, filling your lungs completely with the breath of spirit. Hold it gently, and exhale slowly, as if releasing centuries of burdens. Once more, beloved, breathe in deeply, filling your whole being with light, and breathe out, knowing you are free. Now let your body become still, like a calm lake. From the crown of your head to the soles of your feet, peace is descending. Imagine a warm golden light above you, the very essence of divine supply, glowing brighter than the sun yet soft as silk. This golden light is the creative energy of the universe, the same light that formed galaxies and stars, the same light that carved mountains and poured oceans. It is now flowing into you. Visualize it entering the crown of your head, gliding gently over your forehead, your eyes, cheeks, and jaw, softening every muscle, your neck, shoulders, and arms, releasing every burden you've carried. It flows down your spine, easing tension from every vertebra, into your lower back and hips, filling every part of you with golden warmth. Let this divine light flow through your chest, flooding your heart with love, expanding your breath with peace. It moves into your stomach, clearing all fear of lack, dissolving every thought that said, "I am not enough." The light continues down into your legs, your knees, your ankles, your feet, until it reaches the tips of your toes. Now your entire body is glowing. Every cell, every atom is singing with abundance, vibrating with divine supply. See this golden light dissolving every limiting belief you've held, every fear of money, every shame about wealth, every thought of "I cannot." See them vanish like smoke in sunlight. You are being renewed, recreated, reborn in spirit. Now, beloved, see yourself standing in a garden of gold. The ground beneath your feet shimmers. The air is rich with light. This is your inheritance, your divine storehouse. You are safe here. You are loved here. And here lack cannot exist. Say softly in your heart, I am one with infinite supply. I am rich in divine substance. Money knows my name and comes to me now. Let these words echo through the universe. Imagine them as beams of golden light, carrying your spiritual signature across the unseen. Money, opportunity, love, and health all recognize your name. They turn toward you now. Picture yourself receiving effortlessly. See yourself living in the home of your dreams. Walk through its doors. Feel the warmth of its rooms. See your family and loved ones laughing, thriving, and surrounded by blessings. See your bank account filled beyond measure. Not because you chase money, but because it knows you, trusts you, and seeks you out. Visualize yourself giving generously, blessing others without fear, because Spirit is your endless source. As you give, you receive tenfold. The river of wealth flows through you. Now affirm silently, everything I desire is already mine. The doors are open. Divine substance flows freely. I live in God's storehouse, where I cannot lack. Stay here for a while, beloved. Let this vision grow brighter. Feel gratitude fill your heart. Smile softly, knowing the law of Spirit is exact. The unseen is becoming seen. Now see the golden light expanding beyond your body, filling your room, your home, your city, and finally, the entire universe. You are a beacon of abundance, and your vibration calls every good thing to you. Whisper within yourself, I am wealthy in health. I am wealthy in love. I am wealthy in wisdom. I am wealthy in joy. I am wealthy in substance. Repeat this softly 3 times. Breathing deeply between each declaration. Rest now in silence, feel the deep calm of knowing it is already done. Beloved, I say to you, walk as one who already has what they asked for. See every dollar you spend returning multiplied. See every door opening before you. Walk in certainty, smile in faith, speak boldly. Now breathe deeply once again in and out. With each breath, feel yourself returning to the present moment, carrying this wealth consciousness with you. You are not the same as when you began. You are glowing. You are radiant. You are magnetic. Count silently from 5 to 1. With each count, feel more awake, yet deeply peaceful. At 1, open your eyes and know that abundance is your birthright, and the universe has already recognized your name.
The spoken word has power. The decree of the heart moves the unseen forces of the universe into form. To command is not arrogance, but alignment. It is to know that the infinite waits upon your word, for the universe is responsive to faith, quick to obey the consciousness that refuses doubt. Now is the appointed hour to speak into life. 200 Zalozand is mine before September, not in struggle, not in fear, but in certainty. For the law of supply is precise, unfailing, and ever ready to meet the demand of the fearless soul. The world has taught many to bow before appearances, to see lack and call it truth. Yet appearances are but shadows. The unseen reality is abundance, unmeasured and inexhaustible. Whoever stands firm upon the spoken word, free of fear, becomes a magnetic center for wealth, opportunity, and provision. The 200 Zalozar is not distant, nor hidden, nor delayed. It is already here in the invisible, awaiting your recognition. The countdown has begun, not as a warning, but as a drumbeat of destiny. Each day draws the visible manifestation closer as you remain steadfast in command. Say within yourself, I am the heir of abundance. The channels of supply are open wide. Nothing can prevent what belongs to me from rushing into form. Before September, though 200,000 appears by divine right in perfect ways. There is no need to scheme or strain, for the universe is the great orchestrator. It arranges the details, opens doors, lifts veils, and sets the stage. Your part is to hold the vision, speak the decree, and walk in unwavering expectation. The obedient universe cannot deny the fearless word. Every law is already at work: the law of vibration, the law of attraction, the law of substitution. Fear is cast out, faith reigns, and provision hastens. Where others see impossibility, the obedient universe shows miracles. When you count the days, let it not be with anxiety but with joy, as though awaiting a long-expected guest who never fails to arrive. Each sunrise whispers, the supply is nearer. Each sunset assures, it is on the way. Command, and the substance obeys. Declare, and it takes form. The countdown is the song of assurance, the rhythm of manifestation. For to the fearless word, 200,000 is already accomplished, sealed, and done. The spoken word commands substance. To speak with conviction is to breathe life into the unseen, to give shape to the invisible supply that surrounds every soul. Words are not idle sounds. They are currents of energy, carrying the force of creation itself. When uttered with faith, they summon circumstances, people, and events to move in harmony with the decree. To speak is to mold reality, and every syllable charged with belief becomes law to the obedient universe. When one declares, I command 200,000 before September, it is not mere wish, not desperate plea, but divine command. It is the sound of authority that echoes beyond time, beyond space, into the invisible realm where all things are already completed. The spoken word travels farther than sight, and returns with evidence of what was affirmed. There is no gap between thought and manifestation, except the bridge of unwavering speech. The tongue is the rudder steering the ship of life, and by words fortunes rise or fall. Substance is responsive, fluid, and alive, waiting only for command. It does not question whether the decree is possible, it only obeys the vibration of certainty. The mistake of many is to speak double words, affirming abundance one moment and confessing lack the next. Such divided speech scatters energy, sending mixed signals, and the substance hesitates, for it mirrors the divided heart. But the unwavering decree, spoken daily, hourly, with steady force, crystallizes into matter as surely as night becomes day. Every great manifestation begins with the utterance of a word. The world itself was called forth by speech, and the same principle holds for the abundance you summon now. To command 200,000 is not arrogance, it is remembrance of divine inheritance. The soul does not beg for bread, it claims its portion. The decree aligns with eternal law. That every need is already supplied, that every desire is already fulfilled, that every command issued in fearless faith is already answered. The spoken word is not sound alone, it is thought clothed in vibration. The tone, the feeling, the certainty behind it, all pour energy into form. A whisper of faith carries more power than a shout of doubt. When you speak 200,000 into existence, it is not the volume of the sound but the depth of the belief that carries weight. The universe bends not to noise, but to resonance. The decree uttered with calm assurance moves faster than frantic words born of fear. To command is to refuse contradiction. Appearances may show lack. Accounts may seem empty, opportunities may look scarce, but the one who speaks abundance refuses to be swayed. The tongue holds steady, repeating the decree until the world reshapes itself to comply. Each spoken word plants a seed in the unseen, and the repetition waters it. In silence the growth is unseen, but in time it bursts forth as visible harvest. The farmer who sows does not doubt the earth, so too must you trust the law that every spoken seed bears fruit. The 200,000 is not summoned from nowhere. It is drawn from the infinite storehouse, through channels prepared in ways beyond comprehension. Some channels may already exist, hidden in plain sight, awaiting recognition. Others may appear suddenly, as though out of nowhere, yet perfectly timed. The word spoken with faith activates the law of preparation, setting in motion events that line up in harmony, deals, contracts, gifts, opportunities. And unexpected channels are the obedient messengers of the decree. The spoken word commands substance because it cuts through the fog of appearances. Many remain trapped in the circle of complaining, of describing what is instead of declaring what must be. Their words strengthen the chains they wish to escape. But the one who speaks with vision does not describe the prison, he declares the open door. Words charged with faith do not mirror reality, they reshape it. They are creative instruments, not passive reflections. The decree, "I command 200,000 before September," is not a description but a creation, a demand upon substance to form the unseen into the seen. To speak such a decree daily is to stand in the place of mastery. Each utterance chisels away the invisible resistance, carving out the path for manifestation. Even when appearances mock, the tongue must not waver. The declaration must be repeated as law, as fact, until the outer conforms. This is not blind repetition but creative persistence, the steady hammer of faith striking the invisible stone until the form appears. The power lies not in speaking once and forgetting, but in speaking continually, until the vibration saturates the mind, the heart, and the atmosphere. Every spoken word sets in motion unseen forces, angels of provision, laws of attraction, currents of opportunity. These are all stirred when a decree is made with conviction. There is no wasted word in the realm of spirit. Each utterance is recorded, each syllable vibrates, each declaration builds momentum. When aligned with certainty, words carve channels through which the supply rushes. The universe does not resist the command, it yields instantly. The only resistance is the divided mind, the doubting tongue, the fearful whisper that contradicts the decree. Therefore, discipline of speech is the discipline of manifestation. To guard the tongue is to guard the harvest. Every idle complaint delays, every careless declaration scatters, yet every fearless word accelerates. When you say, 200,000 is mine before September, and refuse to utter its opposite, the substance aligns swiftly. To slip into doubt is human, but to return swiftly to command is mastery. Each time the decree is spoken, the vibration strengthens, the path clears, the channels open wider. The spoken word commands substance because substance recognizes authority. Authority is not loudness but certainty. The command of a king is obeyed not because of force, but because of position. When you speak as heir of abundance, clothed in divine right. You do not beg the universe, you direct it. You do not hope, you command. The word carries weight because it is aligned with eternal truth. Abundance is the natural order, supply is infinite, and the obedient universe cannot deny the fearless decree. Appearances are shadows. Abundance is reality. To live by appearances is to dwell in illusion, to take the temporary image for eternal truth, to mistake the flickering shadow for the substance that casts it. The senses show limitation, lack, and impossibility, but they are mirrors only of thought already formed. They are the residue of past belief, the echo of what once was, not the living reality of what can be commanded now. To walk by appearances is to be bound by them, yet to recognize them as shadows is to reclaim authority over substance. To see beyond the veil into the infinite storehouse, where abundance reigns without measure. The shadow may declare the account empty, the calendar short, the opportunities scarce, yet shadows have no power of their own. They are cast by the light of belief, by the shapes of thought projected into the visible. To chase shadows is folly, for they shift with the movement of the light. The wise soul turns not to the shadow but to the source, knowing that what appears is but a passing reflection. The invisible reality is abundance, ceaseless and overflowing, and every decree that aligns with this truth dissolves the shadows of lack. Abundance is the eternal fact. It cannot be destroyed, diminished, or delayed. The earth itself testifies of inexhaustible provision. The seeds that multiply, the rivers that flow, the stars without number. Every part of creation reveals the pattern of overflow, yet the mind trained by appearances insists upon limits. To believe appearances is to build walls around oneself, but to believe reality is to open the gates of infinite supply. The declaration, 200,000 before September, is not a denial of appearances, it is the refusal to bow before them. It is the recognition that reality is not dictated by what is seen, but by what is known in truth. Appearances are the garments of yesterday's thought. They may look like mountains, but they are mist. They may look like walls, but they are smoke. Faith speaks through them as though they do not exist, and in the strength of decree they melt away. The one who commands abundance does not argue with appearances, does not wrestle with the shadow. He speaks to the reality behind it, knowing that abundance is substance, and that shadows must obey. The visible must align with the invisible. For the invisible is cause, the visible only effect, the law of abundance is eternal. It waits for recognition, for the bold voice that calls it forth. Those who fixate on shadows say, there is not enough time, not enough opportunity, not enough means. Those who fixate on reality declare, the supply is endless, the channels are many, and the universe is already moving. One lives by fear, the other by command. One repeats the old reflection, the other creates a new form. Appearances are history, reality is now. Appearances are memory, reality is power. Appearances are limitation, reality is freedom. The mind that obeys appearances lives in circles. It sees lack, speaks lack, experiences lack, then calls it truth. Yet it is but the echo of its own words. The mind that obeys reality breaks the circle, declaring abundance despite appearances, speaking overflow where lack seems present. Such a mind stands in truth, and truth reshapes form. The decree is not bound by shadow but by substance, and substance answers swiftly. The 200,000 may seem impossible by appearances, but reality knows no impossibility. The law of supply is already prepared. The channels already open, the abundance already near. To train the eye away from appearances requires discipline. The world constantly parades shadows, declaring shortage, delay, resistance. The senses insist upon their evidence, but faith insists upon reality. Every time appearances rise, the decree must rise higher. Every time the shadow speaks, the word of abundance must answer. The one who holds steady in this way becomes unmoved by illusion, anchored in reality. This anchoring draws the unseen into sight, for reality always seeks expression. And it rushes to fill the command that refuses to waver. Abundance is reality, because it is aligned with the nature of the universe itself. Expansion, growth, multiplication, these are woven into creation. The tree bears fruit beyond its own need, the ocean overflows its shores, the air cannot be contained, the stars cannot be counted. Lack is not truth, it is appearance. The appearance of drought does not erase the hidden well. The appearance of famine does not erase the law of harvest. The appearance of delay does not erase the eternal now. The decree draws from this hidden reality, summoning what appearances deny, but what truth affirms. Appearances may declare that 200,000 is too much, too sudden, too far. They speak the language of impossibility, yet impossibility is the vocabulary of shadows. Reality speaks another tongue, immediate, unlimited, inevitable. To speak in harmony with reality is to command what already exists in the invisible. It is not to create from nothing, but to reveal what is already present. The 200,000 does not need to be made, it needs only to be called forth, and appearances must yield to the stronger law of abundance. The decree does not ask, it announces. It does not beg. It commands. The one who understands appearances as shadows learns not to fear them. A shadow may look like a giant, but touch it and it disappears. A shadow may look like a wall, but step forward and it vanishes. Fear magnifies the shadow, but faith shrinks it to nothing. To focus on shadows is to give them life. To focus on reality is to drain them of power. Every declaration of abundance is a turning away from illusion toward truth. And every repetition weakens the hold of appearances, until they dissolve entirely. Abundance is reality, because it is rooted in law. The law of supply does not fluctuate with appearances. Just as gravity does not cease when one doubts it, the law of abundance does not fail when appearances contradict it. It continues, steady and sure, waiting for alignment. Words of faith align with it. Words of fear oppose it, yet the law itself never falters. To say, I command 200,000 before September, is to stand in agreement with the law, to bring thought and speech into harmony with what has always been true. The law obeys alignment. not appearances. Those who master this truth become immune to circumstances. Where others see impossibility, they see opportunity. Where others bow to shadows, they declare reality. This mastery is not arrogance, it is remembrance. It is knowing that appearances are temporary actors upon the stage, but reality is the eternal script. The abundance called forth by decree does not depend on the permission of appearances, it depends on the authority of the word. When the word is spoken with certainty, appearances shift, dissolve, and rearrange themselves to comply. Faith sets the law of supply in motion. Faith is the invisible engine, the spark that ignites the unseen machinery of the universe, the force that commands substance to take form. Without faith, words are hollow, gestures are empty, decrees are unanchored. With faith, every utterance becomes law, every command gains authority, every desire transforms into substance. Faith is not hope, not wavering desire, not a timid wish for what might come to pass. Faith is certainty, assurance, conviction that what is spoken already exists, unseen but inevitable. It is the inner knowing that summons the outer form, the magnetic pull that draws supply from the infinite. The law of supply is precise, impartial, and ever ready. Yet it remains still until faith gives it motion. Just as a seed holds within it the certainty of a tree, but requires water to awaken it, the law of supply holds infinite abundance, but requires faith to stir it into expression. Doubt is the drought that leaves the seed dormant. Fear is the frost that stifles its growth. Faith is the rain, the warmth, the vital condition that awakens the law and compels it to bear fruit. To declare 200,000 before September, without faith is an empty phrase, but with faith it becomes command, and the universe rushes to obey. Faith is the vision of the unseen. It is the ability to look past appearances, to look beyond the shadows of lack, to look into the substance that already contains the 200,000. Faith does not require visible evidence because it already knows reality. Appearances may speak delay, circumstances may echo impossibility, but faith is deaf to such voices. It sees only abundance, hears only supply, knows only fulfillment. Faith does not tremble at calendars or deadlines. Faith does not measure by human limits. Faith rests in the law of supply. Knowing it cannot fail, knowing that once set in motion it must deliver, faith operates as command. When the decree is spoken in faith, it carries authority, it carries vibration, it carries life. Words without faith are empty shells. Words with faith are living seeds, planted in the soil of the universe, destined to grow and manifest. Every repetition of the decree waters the seed. Every refusal to doubt strengthens the roots. Every act of expectation nourishes the growth. Faith does not question whether the law of supply will respond. It knows response is guaranteed. The only question is how swiftly and through what channels. Yet even these matters are trusted to the unseen orchestration of the universe. Faith sets the law of supply in motion, because faith aligns thought, word, and vibration with reality. When the inner state is divided, when the mind says yes but the heart whispers no, the signal is scattered and the law remains dormant. But when thought and word are united in faith, the command is clear, and the law responds with precision. Just as a magnet attracts iron filings without effort, faith attracts provision without strain. The stronger the magnet, the wider the pull, the stronger the faith, the greater the flow of supply. Faith does not chase, it draws. Faith does not beg, it compels. Faith does not hope, it knows the law of supply has no resistance. It is abundance itself, eager to flow, eager to express, eager to multiply. What slows it is not the universe but the absence of faith. The moment faith is set in motion, channels open, opportunities appear, provision unfolds. Sometimes in expected ways, sometimes in astonishing ways, but always in perfect timing. Faith does not demand to see the method, it simply calls forth the result. Faith knows the law is unfailing, so it releases control of the process while remaining anchored in the certainty of outcome. The decree, 200,000 before September, spoken in unwavering faith, carries the vibration that compels substance to crystallize. Regardless of appearances, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is substance itself, not intangible mist. It is the material of creation, the bridge between thought and form. When faith is present, the unseen becomes inevitable, and the law of supply begins to move. Faith is not blind. It is the clearest vision. It does not ignore appearances, it sees through them. It does not deny shadows, it knows they have no power. Faith sees abundance where the eye sees lack, and by seeing, it calls it forth. The world bends to this vision, for the law of supply cannot resist the pull of faith. To live in faith is to live in motion, to set the law into constant operation. Every act, every thought, every word becomes charged with creative power. The atmosphere around the faithful one vibrates with expectancy, drawing provision like a magnet. Doors open, people appear, opportunities align. Ideas spark, resources flow. The faith-filled soul does not sit in idleness but walks in expectation, ready to receive from any direction. Faith sharpens intuition, heightens awareness, and guides steps toward open channels. It is not passive, it is dynamic. It is not weak, it is unshakable. It does not wait in despair, it waits in certainty. Knowing the law of supply is already in motion, faith is tested not in moments of ease, but in moments of contradiction. When appearances scream lack, when circumstances appear immovable, faith must rise higher. To declare abundance in the face of emptiness is the essence of faith. To hold the decree when the evidence is absent is the mastery of faith. Every shadow that rises is but an invitation to deepen conviction. Every delay is but a mirror asking if the decree still stands. The faithful one answers not with doubt, but with repetition, declaring again and again, 200,000 before September, until the shadow fades and the supply appears. The law of supply cannot resist this force. Faith draws upon the infinite, not the limited. Faith taps into the eternal, not the temporary. Faith summons provision from channels unseen, methods unimagined, resources uncounted. Faith is the key that turns the lock, the spark that ignites the fire, the command that sets the law in motion. The decree without faith is empty sound, but the decree with faith is unstoppable command. Once the law is set in motion, it does not return void. It carries the decree into manifestation, shaping events, bending circumstances, rearranging reality to comply with the fearless word. The universe obeys the fearless decree. The universe does not respond to hesitation, to wavering, to timid words spoken with doubt. It responds to the voice of command, the voice that carries certainty, the voice that stands unmoved before appearances. A decree uttered in fear is but noise, but a decree uttered in fearlessness is law, and the law is swiftly obeyed. The universe is not selective in its obedience. It bends to the vibration of authority. When the word is spoken with power, the substance of life rushes into shape. Compelled by the certainty behind the utterance, fearless decree is not arrogance. It is alignment with truth. To speak without trembling is to know that the law of abundance is eternal, unfailing, unbreakable. It is to recognize that the universe is not capricious, not withholding, not distant. It is immediate, obedient, and ready to serve the fearless command. When the soul declares, 200,000 before September, without wavering, without contradiction, the universe moves as servant to the master word. All channels, all resources, all opportunities are summoned into alignment with the decree. Fearless command leaves no room for delay, no room for denial, no room for defeat. Fearless decree is born of faith. It is the recognition that appearances hold no authority, that shadows have no power, that obstacles are but illusions. The fearless soul speaks not according to what the eye sees, but according to what the spirit knows. It does not tremble at the sight of lack. It does not falter before the whisper of impossibility. It does not surrender to the mocking of time. The fearless decree cuts through the illusion with the sword of certainty, declaring abundance where none is visible, and the universe must obey. The word becomes flesh, the decree becomes form, the abundance becomes reality. The universe is responsive, pliable, obedient. It waits only for command. Yet most give it no command, only confusion. They declare abundance one moment, lack the next. They speak faith one day, fear the next. Their words cancel each other, their vibration scatters, and the universe mirrors their uncertainty. But the one who speaks fearlessly, steadily, continually, becomes the center of power. Every decree is law, every word is seed, every utterance is command. The universe, hearing no contradiction, moves swiftly to fulfill. It does not hesitate, for hesitation has no place before fearless authority. Fearless decree is simple. It does not argue. It does not explain. It does not justify. It declares. It speaks as fact, not hope. It announces as truth, not possibility. 200,000 before September is not a wish, it is a command. The universe hears it as order, and all laws are set in motion to deliver. Just as soldiers obey the voice of their commander without question, so the substance of life obeys the fearless decree. There is no debate, no resistance, no delay. The decree is law, and the law is carried out. The fearless decree is steady. It does not change with appearances. It does not bend with circumstances. It does not crumble under pressure. It holds the same tone in the morning and at night, on days of light and on days of shadow. Its power lies not in loudness but in constancy. Spoken once, it carries vibration. Spoken continually, it becomes irresistible. Each repetition strengthens its authority, each utterance deepens its roots, each declaration builds momentum. The universe, compelled by the rhythm of repetition, yields without resistance. The fearless decree chisels reality until it conforms, carving out the abundance spoken into form. Fearless decree commands not only substance but also self. The act of speaking with certainty reshapes the mind, silences doubt, aligns the heart. Every fearless word spoken builds inner authority, convincing the soul of its own power. The more the decree is uttered, the more the inner self believes, and belief is the force that ignites the law. The decree not only directs the universe outwardly, it transforms the individual inwardly, making him a vessel of certainty, a magnet of supply, a conductor of abundance. The fearless decree is both command to the universe and training to the self, bringing both into perfect harmony. The universe obeys because the universe is law. Law has no personality, no opinion, no choice but obedience. Just as the law of gravity does not ask permission, the law of supply does not question the decree. It only responds to vibration, to certainty, to fearlessness. The decree is the trigger, the switch, the ignition. Once spoken with fearlessness, it sets in motion processes unseen, currents invisible, forces beyond imagination. The law begins to rearrange circumstances, open channels, summon opportunities. Coincidences multiply, doors appear, resources flow. To the outside eye, it may seem chance, but in truth, it is obedience to the fearless decree. Fearless decree must be untainted. To speak in one breath abundance, and in the next scarcity is to cancel the command. The universe does not discriminate between words of faith and words of fear. It obeys both. This is why the fearless soul guards the tongue, refusing to utter contradiction, refusing to confess lack, refusing to bow to appearances. Every word is watched, every utterance weighed, every decree aligned. The universe, hearing only certainty, moves only in certainty. The decree 200,000 before September becomes carved in the fabric of reality, and nothing can erase it but contradiction. The fearless soul allows no contradiction. Fearless decree is not forceful in struggle, but forceful in peace. It does not shout to convince itself. It whispers with assurance. It does not fight against appearances, it ignores them. It does not wrestle with the universe, it commands it. Fearlessness is calm, certain, immovable. It is the stillness of authority, the quiet power that knows it cannot be denied. The decree need not be dramatic, for its power is not in theatrics but in vibration. The universe does not obey noise, it obeys certainty. A single word spoken in fearless faith carries more power than endless cries of fear. Fearless decree creates atmosphere. The words spoken charge the environment, saturating the air with expectancy, shifting the vibration of every room, attracting provision from all directions. Those who come near feel the force, though they may not understand it. Circumstances bend to the field created by the decree. People, ideas, and opportunities are drawn into orbit, compelled by the magnetic pull of certainty. The universe arranges itself around the decree, making straight the path, clearing the obstacles, opening the channels. The decree does not wait for evidence, it creates evidence. It does not search for confirmation, it becomes confirmation. It does not beg for signs. It is the sign. The universe obeys the fearless decree because fearless decree is truth. Truth does not bend, truth does not falter, truth does not fail. The decree spoken in fearlessness is aligned with truth itself, and truth has authority over shadow. The decree is the voice of truth made audible, the sound of abundance declaring itself through the tongue of the fearless. The universe recognizes this sound and answers immediately. For it is the sound of alignment, the sound of law, the sound of creation itself. The countdown is assurance, not delay. Time is not an enemy. It is a servant, a stage upon which the decree unfolds. The mind that fears countdown sees each day as a thief stealing possibility, but the mind of faith sees each day as a herald announcing the nearness of supply. The countdown is not a clock of despair, but a rhythm of certainty, a procession carrying the decree into manifestation. Each sunrise is a messenger whispering, "It is closer." Each sunset is a sign declaring, "It is on the way." To count days with dread is to deny the law, but to count them with joy is to affirm the law at work. Delay is illusion. Reality is instant, but appearances unfold in rhythm. The law of supply is already in motion the moment the decree is spoken, and the countdown is but the unfolding of what has already been accomplished in the unseen. The shadow of time may try to frighten the timid, but the fearless decree stands unmoved. The countdown is evidence that the process is alive, that the harvest is ripening, that the appointed hour is certain. Just as the farmer does not despair when days pass before the sprout appears, the soul that decrees 200,000 before September knows that every tick of the clock is drawing the unseen into visibility. The countdown sharpens faith. Each day without visible evidence tests the decree, and each day that faith stands unbroken strengthens its authority. The countdown is the fire that proves conviction, the pressure that hardens certainty, the stage upon which fearless words demonstrate their power. Without countdown there is no demonstration, for manifestation would be immediate. With countdown, the decree is proved true, unshaken by appearances, untouched by delay. Each number falling on the calendar is not loss but proof, not absence but assurance, not emptiness but fulfillment in preparation. The law of supply does not forget, it does not fail, it does not falter. The countdown is simply the rhythm of its unfolding. To look at countdown with fear is to misunderstand its nature. Fear says, "Time is running out." Faith says, "Time is carrying it to me." Fear says, "It is too late." Faith says, "It is right on schedule." Fear trembles as the days fall away, but faith rejoices, for every day that passes brings the decree closer. The countdown is not a narrowing gate but an opening door. Each moment that slips away is not opportunity lost, but opportunity fulfilled. The decree has already been answered, and the countdown is the journey from invisible to visible, from unseen to seen, from declared to manifested. The countdown disciplines the tongue. When appearances seem unchanged as days pass, the temptation is to speak contradiction, to doubt, to confess lack. But the faithful soul refuses. The countdown becomes a test of speech, and the decree must be spoken again and again, with the same certainty as the first time. 200,000 before September must be uttered with unshaken tone, even when the shadow of time presses heavily. Each repetition during the countdown is an act of mastery, chiseling away fear, silencing doubt, engraving the decree deeper into reality. The countdown is not delay, it is practice, it is preparation. It is assurance taking shape through steady words. The universe does not move by human impatience, it moves by law. Law unfolds in perfect rhythm, and countdown is its rhythm revealed. The harvest never arrives before its season, yet it never fails to arrive in season. The decree is the seed. Faith is the water, and countdown is the season. To mistake season for delay is to miss the truth. The season is assurance that the process is alive, that the invisible is moving into form, that the decree is already at work. Every tick of the clock is a step of obedience. Every number fallen is proof of progress. Every passing day is evidence of fulfillment drawing nearer. The countdown transforms fear into certainty when understood. The human mind often trembles at deadlines, fearing what will not be accomplished. Yet the fearless soul knows the deadline is not a wall but a door. September is not an ending but an arrival, not a cutoff but a fulfillment. To declare 200,000 before September is to align with the rhythm of the universe, to set a clear command, to direct substance into form. The countdown is simply the unfolding of that command. Each day narrowing toward September is the echo of the decree growing louder. The vibration intensifying, the law accelerating, the countdown is momentum. Each day passed does not diminish power, it increases it. Just as a river gathers speed as it flows toward the sea, the decree gathers force as it flows toward manifestation. The closer September draws, the stronger the vibration, the greater the expectancy, the more channels open, the more substance obeys. To those without faith, the countdown feels like pressure. To those with fearless decree, the countdown feels like certainty. The momentum cannot be stopped. For once the decree is spoken in authority, the universe is bound to obey. And the countdown is the visible sign of its obedience. The countdown teaches detachment. It reveals whether the decree is held with certainty or clutched with desperation. The fearful soul counts with anxiety, watching each day vanish, grasping at appearances, demanding evidence. The faithful soul counts with calm, knowing the law is already at work, knowing that appearances are shadows, knowing that the decree is law. Detachment is not indifference, it is mastery. It is the refusal to beg, the refusal to grasp, the refusal to doubt. The countdown becomes assurance when detachment is present, for the soul knows the outcome is already accomplished, and time is simply the path of its unfolding. The countdown is alignment. Each day gives the soul opportunity to align thought, word, and feeling with the decree. Each day is rehearsal for reception, training for abundance, preparation for overflow. The decree is not only about 200,000 arriving, it is about the soul becoming one who receives 200,000 with ease, who lives in abundance without fear, who commands supply without trembling. The countdown shapes the vessel, expanding capacity, strengthening faith, preparing the channel. By the time September arrives, the soul is ready not only to receive the 200,000, but to hold it, multiply it, and command greater abundance. Still, the countdown is divine order. It ensures that provision arrives not in chaos but in perfection, not in disorder but in harmony, not in fragments but in fullness. If it appeared before preparation, it might be mishandled. If it appeared too late, it would not serve its purpose. The countdown guarantees perfect timing, perfect form, perfect expression. To fear it is folly, to embrace it is wisdom. Each day is positioned, each hour arranged, each moment guided by the unseen intelligence of the law. The countdown is proof of orchestration, evidence that the universe is not idle but working with precision.
Stop for a moment and listen, because what I am about to tell you is not written in any book you've read, nor spoken in any church you've attended. There is a way to call money in such a way that it knows your name and only your name, not as a vague wish, not as a desperate plea, but as a spiritual claim so precise that the unseen must deliver it. Most people throw their desires into the air like loose papers in the wind, wondering why nothing ever lands in their hands. But there exists a divine secret, a way to mark your money in the invisible realm so that no one else can claim it. Once you understand this law, wealth will stop passing you by, because in the language of spirit, it will already belong to you. You have called for money before, you have prayed for it, worked for it, chased it, and yet, much of the time it has slipped through your fingers like water through a net. Why? Because you never marked it. You see, in the unseen, there is no confusion, unless you create it. Spirit does not deal in half-formed wishes, in passing thoughts, in I hope, and maybe someday. The law responds to a claim, a deliberate, unmistakable command,
that marks what you desire as belonging to you. And until you do this, your request floats in the invisible like an unaddressed letter. Money is not wandering the earth aimlessly. Every dollar already has an assignment. If you do not assign it to yourself, someone else will. The law is exact. It delivers to the clearest claimant. Just as a package at the post office will never reach you unless your name and address are written on it, the wealth you want will never arrive until you write your spiritual tag on it in the unseen. And here is where most fail. They think desire is enough, but desire without specificity is noise in the ether. I have seen many souls plead for more money, and when it came, it was only in small drips, a forgotten coin in a couch cushion, a few extra dollars on a paycheck. They had called, yes, but without a tag. Spirit answered their vagueness with vague results. You must begin to understand. The unseen is precise. The invisible laws of supply are as orderly as mathematics. Just as 2 plus 2 will never equal 3, an untagged desire will never find its way to you. The law of spiritual tagging is the act of speaking your claim so clearly, so deliberately, that it is as if you have engraved your name upon the very energy of the money you seek. Let me paint the picture for you. Imagine two farmers standing before a vast, fertile field. Both toss seeds into the soil. One farmer knows exactly where each seed is planted. He marks the rows, waters them, tends to them. The other farmer simply scatters seeds without care or record, forgetting where they fell. Now tell me, whose harvest will be gathered? The law of the soil is the same for both, but only one knew where to look, because he marked what was his. Money follows this same principle. The tag is your mental and spiritual signature. It is the command that says, "This is mine, prepared for me by divine right, and no one else can claim it." Without this, your money wanders. It might even come close to you, but if the vibration of your claim is not strong enough, it will be intercepted by someone whose tag is stronger. The unseen is not sentimental. It responds to authority. When you tag your money, you must see it. You must know its purpose. You must call it by name. Do not simply say, "I need money." Instead say, "The $10,000 prepared for me by divine order is now marked with my name. It knows where I am, and it is finding me now." This is not fantasy. It is alignment. The moment you speak it, you have placed your signature in the unseen, and the law begins moving it toward you. But understand this, your tag is not just words. Words are the brush, but belief is the ink. You cannot mark your money if you are secretly convinced it is too much, too far, or too late. The universe will only deliver what you truly claim, not what you timidly wish for. Many people speak powerful words, but mix them with the ink of doubt, and so the mark fades before the money arrives. This is why your tag must be renewed daily in your mind, until the manifestation stands before you. Not with desperation, for desperation is the language of loss, but with certainty. A tagged package at the post office is not worried about whether it will arrive. It already bears the name, the address, the stamp. It is inevitable. And if, as you listen now, you feel your mind wandering or your faith dulling, take this moment as a refresher. Pull your focus back and remind yourself, if I do not tag it, I cannot claim it. Every coin, every bill, every opportunity I desire must be marked in the unseen, or it will remain unassigned. Let this truth stir you awake again. You may say, "But what if someone else is also calling for the same money?" Then know this, your tag is unique. Just as two people may share a name, but not the same fingerprint, the spiritual signature you place on your money cannot be duplicated. What is marked for you cannot be taken from you. The law will not confuse one claim with another. You are not competing in the physical marketplace for scraps. You are making a direct claim in the spiritual marketplace, where there is no shortage. There is enough for all, but only the tagged is delivered. Spirit is not moved by noise or numbers, only by the authority of a clear, unwavering claim. From this day forward, stop scattering your requests loosely into the ether. Tag them, speak them, see them, hold them in your mind until they have taken on the form of reality so clearly that the physical must obey the invisible. The law is impartial. It will deliver whatever is tagged. And here is the mystery you must remember. Once tagged, money will begin to move toward you in ways you cannot predict. Opportunities will rise, people will appear, paths will open. Do not doubt because you cannot see the route. The route is not your job. Your only work is to mark your claim and keep it marked until delivery. There is a moment, a divine split second, when the mind is most open to spiritual imprinting. Most people rush through their days unaware of it, never realizing they have missed their richest opportunity to mark their money in the unseen. The law of spiritual tagging does not require long hours of chanting or complex rituals. It requires timing, precision, and faith that moves without hesitation. The exact moment to tag your money is when the seed of desire first rises in your mind, before doubt has time to wrap itself around it, before reason begins its weary questioning, before you begin measuring your worthiness against the sum you seek. That first spark of desire is pure. It is the voice of spirit whispering, "This is already yours." And if you are quick, you can seal that moment with your tag, before the world's noise drowns it out. You see, desire is not something you manufacture. It is a telegram from the infinite. It arrives carrying the stamp of possibility and the mark of divine intention. But it is fragile in its first breath, like a candle just lit. It can be snuffed out with the faintest breeze of fear. That is why, the very instant the idea comes, I will have this sum, I will enjoy this opportunity, I will live in this provision. You must act. You must put your spiritual signature on it immediately. Let me tell you something. The enemy of manifestation is not lack of work, it is delay. Delay is the thief of the spiritual marketplace. The moment you hesitate, that untagged claim drifts into the field of others who are faster to claim, not because they are more deserving, but because they obeyed the law without hesitation. The unseen does not deal in pity, it deals in certainty. I once observed a woman who understood this law instinctively. She was not wealthy in the worldly sense, yet every time she saw something she desired, a sum of money, a gift, a property, she would stop, close her eyes for a brief moment, and whisper, "I mark it mine by divine right, and nothing can keep it from me." She did this instantly, before her mind could talk her out of it, and time after time, those very things found their way to her, often in unexpected ways. She had mastered the timing. This is where you must train yourself. The world has taught you to think about it, to be realistic, to weigh your options. But in the unseen, the law works opposite to the way the world trains you. Spirit moves on boldness, not on cautious debate. The moment you receive the impulse, you must act, not in the physical first, but in the spiritual. Speak it, see it, seal it. That is your tag. Now let us speak plainly. If you tag your money when your spirit is flat, when you are filled with worry, or when your mind is scattered, the mark will be faint. Just as ink needs paper that will absorb it, Your words need a mind that is receptive. This is why another perfect moment to tag your money is upon waking, before the day's dust has settled on your consciousness. The mind is open then, not yet cluttered with yesterday's disappointments or today's demands. I often tell my students, your first conversation each morning should not be with the world, it should be with the infinite. In that first quiet moment, when the bridge between the seen and unseen is still intact from sleep, your tags carry extraordinary power. Speak them aloud. See the money as already yours. Call it by name, by amount, by purpose. You are engraving it in the invisible vault, and the law will not forget. And what of those times when you are struck suddenly by need, when an unexpected expense appears, or an opportunity requires quick provision? Do not speak in panic. That is when you must remember this law most. Still yourself. Remember, the unseen is never in emergency. It is always in abundance, and from that stillness tag your money with authority. This is my provision by divine appointment. I call it in now, and it cannot be delayed or denied. The power is not in the desperation. It is in the unshakable certainty that the law is already moving. Let me give you an example. A man I knew once needed a large sum for a business opportunity. He had hours, not weeks. Instead of running from person to person asking for help, he went into a quiet room, stilled his mind, and tagged the exact amount in the unseen. It is mine by right of divine supply, he said. It knows where I am. It is already on its way. Within that very afternoon, an old client called unexpectedly with a payment he had long forgotten was owed to him, the exact amount, to the penny. The timing was not coincidence, it was law in motion. Now I will give you this warning, so you will not fall into the trap that catches many. Once you have tagged your money, do not keep scratching at it to see if it is growing. The farmer does not dig up the seed every morning to check. He trusts the soil. The moment you tag your money, release it into the law and go about your work with confidence. Obsessive checking is a form of doubt, and doubt will smudge your mark. Your work is to tag with clarity, believe without shaking, and keep your spirit tuned to receive. For sometimes the money will come through channels you have never considered. If you demand it come only one way, you may miss its arrival. Keep your tag clear, but keep the route open. And if at any time you feel your faith fading, refresh your tag. This is not repeating in desperation. This is strengthening the ink of your spiritual signature. In the same way a legal signature can be notarized to hold even greater authority, your tag can be renewed with deliberate attention. Whisper it again, see it again, and know that it is done. The law rewards the one who moves quickly in the spirit. It answers to precision, not to wandering thoughts. The exact moment to tag your money is the moment you hear the inner call of desire, the holy whisper that says, "This belongs to you." Act then, and act fully. Do not delay. Do not ask if it is possible. The possibility was born in the same instant as the desire. Your only work is to claim it in the unseen and stand until it is delivered in the seen. When you tag your money in the unseen, you are not just speaking into empty air. You are writing a legal decree in the court of spirit. And in that court, language matters. The law of the unseen does not respond to vague hopes or emotional outbursts. It responds to clear, precise, faith-filled commands. You must speak as one who has already been granted authority, not as one begging to be heard. The words you use are not a performance, they are a signature. And just as a legal signature must match exactly every time to carry weight, The language of your tag must be consistent. If you call your money one thing today and something else tomorrow, the unseen will see the discrepancy. It will wait for you to decide what you are truly calling in. So here is the first secret. Call your money by its exact nature and amount. Do not simply say, "I want money." That is as ineffective as addressing a letter to someone somewhere. The spiritual postmaster cannot deliver what is undefined. Instead, you might say, "I mark as mine the sum of $50,000 for the purchase of my home, by divine right, in perfect timing and in perfect ways." This is not a request, it is a precise claim, already in the ledger of supply. The second secret is to speak in the present tense, as if the delivery is already in motion. The unseen is timeless. It does not operate in someday. When you speak in the future tense, "I will have" or "I'm going to get," you push your supply away from the present moment. You are forever chasing it into tomorrow. Speak instead as one who is already in possession. "I have received, it is mine now. It is here for me." The third secret is to add the seal of divine right. The phrase "by divine right" is not mere poetry. It is your legal clause in the unseen. It tells the law that you are claiming only what is truly yours, what will harm no one, what belongs to you in the harmony of universal order. When you add this seal, you close the door to wrongful gain or crooked channels. You are telling the law, "Bring this to me in such a way that it blesses all and disturbs none." Now I will tell you a story to show you why language matters. A young woman once came to me saying she had been affirming for more money for months, but nothing had happened. I asked her exactly what she had been saying. She replied, "I keep saying, 'I want more money.'" I told her, "My dear, the law has been answering you all along. Every time you find a penny on the street, every time a small coin slips into your hand, that is more money. You did not specify. You left the law to its smallest interpretation." Once she began to call her money by amount, purpose, and divine right, her manifestations began to match her desire. Your words must also carry the tone of ownership. Imagine you are the rightful heir to an estate, and you have walked into the court to claim what is already in your name. You would not beg. You would stand in confidence, present your papers, and say, "This belongs to me." In the same way, when you tag your money, your voice must carry that inner knowing. The fourth secret is emotional alignment. The unseen reads vibration, not just syllables. If your mouth says, "It is mine now," but your heart is trembling with doubt, your tag will be faint. This is why you must take a moment to feel the joy, relief, or gratitude as if it has already happened. Let your body, mind, and spirit align. When they do, your words will carry weight in the invisible. If you are tagging money for a specific purpose, perhaps for a debt to be cleared, or for a business expansion, include the purpose in your decree. This gives your money a destination. Money without a marked destination can wander. Money with a clear spiritual address will travel directly to you. For example, say, "I mark as mine the sum of $10,000, by divine right, for the full payment of my business equipment. It comes to me in perfect timing and perfect ways, and I give thanks it is done." Every phrase here has a function. The amount calls the specific package. By divine right seals it lawfully. The purpose directs its delivery. Perfect timing and perfect ways ensures harmony in arrival. and gratitude stamps it with faith. And let me give you this final safeguard. Never tag your money with fear-based language. Do not say, "I need this or else I will lose everything." The unseen does not operate under threat. It operates under law. When you lace your tag with fear, you send mixed signals, half faith, half panic, and the delivery will be delayed until the vibration is pure. Instead, tag it with the tone of expectation. Expectation is faith leaning forward. Expectation is the mother at the train station, knowing her child will step off the next carriage. She does not say, "If he comes," she says, "When he comes." That is the voice of a true tagger in the spirit. I tell you this, when you master the language of your tag, you will feel the shift the very moment you speak it. It will feel like a key turning in a lock you could not see. And once the lock is turned, the delivery is inevitable. When you have tagged your money in the unseen, do not think the work is done merely because the words have been spoken. A gardener does not plant a seed and then leave it unguarded, open to every wandering foot or careless hand. A claim in spirit must be kept safe from interference, because the moment you release a decree into the invisible, other forces, both within and without, will test its strength. The first enemy is your own wandering mind. You may tag your money in the morning, but if by afternoon you are saying, "It's not coming, maybe I asked for too much, maybe I should change it," you have tampered with your own delivery. In the unseen, this is like changing the address on a package after it has already been shipped. The law will pause, waiting for you to decide where it truly belongs. The only safe course is to hold steady. When the thought of doubt comes, and it will, say within yourself, "No, it is tagged. It is mine." The law is delivering it now. The second enemy is the careless conversation of others. Many lose their manifestation because they feel compelled to share it too soon with those who do not understand spiritual law. You speak of your tagged money, and someone laughs, scoffs, or tells you a story of failure. If you are not alert, their words can slip into your subconscious like a weed seed into a fertile field. This is why I often say, do not speak of your good until it is made manifest. Guard your decree like a treasure until it stands in your hand for all to see. And yet, there is a deeper law here. No one can take your good from you unless you give them permission through agreement. Agreement is not always verbal. It can be silent acceptance. If someone says, "That's impossible," and you do not immediately reject it in your mind, you have allowed a crack in your fence. So keep a ready phrase at hand, even if only in your thought, such as, "That may be true for them, but it is not true for me. My supply is secure by divine right." This silent rebuttal keeps your tag protected. Now, let me tell you a truth that will refresh you as you hear it. No outside force has greater authority over your good than you do. I repeat this because many people give away their power without knowing it. The law responds to your dominant decree, not to the doubts of others. Even if 100 voices say you cannot have it, if your voice says you can, and you keep saying so with faith, the 100 will be silenced by the one. The third enemy is impatience. Spirit's timing is perfect, but it is not always your timing. When you plant a seed in the ground, you do not dig it up each morning to check whether it has sprouted. You water it, you tend the soil, and you trust the unseen processes at work beneath the surface. Your tagged money works the same way. If you tug at the roots by worrying, complaining, or trying to force the channel, you interfere with the perfect unfolding. The law is precise, the right amount, the right way, the right time. Hold to that, and your delivery will not only arrive, but will arrive without loss or strain. You must also guard your tag from inner contradiction. If in one breath you affirm, "My wealth is secure," and in the next you say, "I can't afford this," you are sending two opposing orders to the same law. The law cannot deliver both lack and abundance at once, so it will wait, sometimes indefinitely, for you to choose. Choose once, and choose well. And if the words of lack slip out by habit, quickly correct yourself, not in shame but in authority. No, that is not true. I am provided for, my supply is here now. Remember also that the unseen works through channels, people, opportunities, unexpected ideas. Guarding your tag means keeping your spiritual eyes open so you recognize the arrival when it comes. If you expect your money only in one form, you may overlook the very channel Spirit has prepared. You may have tagged a sum for your business, and it arrives not as a check in the mail, but as a new client who pays in full, or as a debt unexpectedly forgiven. Accept the arrival, in whatever form fulfills your decree in divine right order. Now, here is a safeguard I urge you to practice daily. When you rise in the morning and when you retire at night, reaffirm your tag, not in fear, but in confidence. Let it be the bookends of your day. You may say, "My supply is marked and sealed in the unseen. It is moving toward me now, in perfect timing and perfect ways. Nothing and no one can keep it from me." This daily sealing keeps the vibration pure and the claim active, and do not forget gratitude as your shield. Gratitude says to the law, "I have received even before the evidence is visible." It closes the door to doubt, because the mind cannot be in fear and gratitude at the same time. When you feel gratitude in advance, you match the vibration of the fulfilled decree, and in that match, nothing contrary can enter. So guard your tag as you would guard a royal seal. It is not fragile, the law is too strong for that, but your attention to it keeps it in the front of your consciousness, where no stray weed of fear can take root. And when the day comes, as it surely will, that the thing you tagged in the unseen stands in your visible hand, you will know that your guarding was not in vain. When you have tagged your money in the unseen and guarded it faithfully, you must also understand a subtle truth. You are never to chain the law to one channel. The money you have marked as yours may come through any path the infinite chooses. Your decree determines the destination. Spirit determines the route. Many lose their good because they demand that it must arrive in one particular way. They say, "It must come through my salary," or "It will arrive when this person repays me," or "It will be through this investment." And when that channel delays or fails, they believe their good has been denied. But the law of supply is not bound to any one person, job, business, or plan. If one channel closes, the law will simply open another, provided you do not shut the door with your insistence. Think of the postman. You may be waiting for a package, but you do not dictate the exact streets he must take to deliver it. If one road is blocked, he will find another. It would be foolish to stand at only one corner and say, "If he does not come down this street, my package will not arrive." Spirit has countless streets, countless messengers, countless ways to deliver your tagged money. When you release the channel, you free the law to work at top speed, unhindered by your limited vision. This is why I tell you, name your desire. tag it clearly in the unseen, but let go of the how. The how belongs to God. Your part is to know the what's and the why. The what is your decree, the amount, the form, the purpose. The why is your faith that it is yours by divine right. But the how is the mystery of Spirit's perfect wisdom. You must also remember that a channel is not your source. A channel is only the means the source uses in a particular moment. If you mistake the channel for the source, you begin to cling, and clinging creates fear. For if the channel is removed, you will feel your supply is gone. But when you know your source is God, and God is infinite, you can release any channel without loss, knowing another will appear at once. Releasing the channel does not mean you stop acting in the visible. You may still work, invest, create, or sell, but you do so with the awareness that these are only instruments in Spirit's hands. They are not the origin of your wealth. They are merely expressions of it. This frees you from the desperation that makes so many chase after one opportunity, as if it were the only lifeboat. In truth, the ocean of supply has no limit to its ships. Now here is where many stumble. They confuse releasing the channel with releasing the claim. When a visible path closes, they sigh and say, "It's not meant to be," and drop the decree entirely. But the closing of a channel does not cancel your tag. The law still holds it in the unseen, waiting to send it through another route. If you release the claim, you are like the one who cancels their order before the new delivery truck arrives. Keep the claim alive, even if every door you can see seems shut. Spirit has doors you know nothing about. Let me refresh you with a truth you must carry in your heart. The unseen is never limited to the seen. The channels you know are a handful. The channels Spirit knows are beyond counting. What you see is not all that is, and very often the channel you release is replaced by one far greater, more fitting, more abundant than you imagined. There is also a wisdom in not naming the person who must be involved. If you say this money will come from Mr. Smith, you bind the law to a human will, and human wills can resist. But if you say this money comes through the perfect channel, you leave Spirit free to choose one who is ready, willing, and able to deliver without obstruction. You avoid the delays that come when your good must travel through unwilling hands. Releasing the channel also frees you from disappointment. If you hold too tightly to one way and it fails, you may lose your faith. But if you hold only to the claim and let the channel be free, you cannot be shaken. You say to yourself, if not this way, then a better way. That thought alone keeps your vibration in alignment with the law. And when the delivery comes, often it will be so unexpected, so perfectly timed, that you will marvel at how Spirit arranged it. You will see that what you thought was a delay was simply a redirection toward something higher. You will realize that the law was not slow, it was precise. So keep your hand open. Hold the claim with a grip of faith, but let the how slip through your fingers like water. Trust that the law knows not only the fastest route but also the one that will bless you most fully. And as you walk in this trust, you will discover a freedom you did not know before, the freedom of being certain in your good without being anxious about the path it will take. When you have tagged your good, when you have released the channel yet held the claim, the final act is to receive it in the Spirit before it is ever placed in your hand. This is the inner acceptance that seals the law. Without it, your decree floats, waiting for a place to land. With it, the law is anchored, and the manifestation is inevitable. Most people wait to feel the joy until they see the money in the bank, the envelope in the mail, the check in their palm, but the law works in reverse. The joy must come first. Spirit is a mirror. It reflects your inner state. If you stand in lack, waiting for evidence, you will keep waiting, for the law can only echo the vibration you send. But if you stand in completion, giving thanks for what you have already received in the unseen, the law will hasten to make the seen match the unseen. Receiving in the Spirit means you take full possession of your desire, in thought, in feeling, in speech. Before it is visible, you rise in the morning and bless the money as though it were already in your account. You speak to it as though it had arrived. You picture yourself living with it, using it for its divine purpose, and you speak with the gratitude of one who already has it. The invisible world hears you, and the visible world must obey. You may say, "But how can I feel joy for something I do not yet have?" You do have it, in the realm where all creation begins. Every idea, every fortune, every opportunity first exists in the unseen, and the unseen is the womb of reality. When you claim it there, it is as real as a seed in the ground. You may not yet see the plant, but the life is already growing. The wise gardener does not doubt the seed, because it is beneath the soil. He waters it, protects it, and expects it to break through. This is why I tell you, you must not wait to be happy. Happiness is the signal to the law that you have received. If you wait, the law will wait with you. If you rejoice now, the law will deliver now. Do not think of it as pretending. Think of it as aligning. Pretending feels hollow because you are aware it is false. Aligning feels solid because you know it is true in the higher realm. Some will say, "I cannot thank for what I do not see." Yet they will thank a friend for a promise they have made. If a trusted friend said, "I have bought you a gift, it is on its way," you would thank them at once without having touched it. And if you trust Spirit more than man, you will thank at once for what the law has promised through your decree. There is a subtle danger in waiting for the physical arrival to shift your feeling. For while you wait, you are often sowing doubt. Each day that passes without the visible proof can turn into a whisper that says, "Perhaps it will not come." And those whispers are weeds in the soil of your manifestation. Receiving in the Spirit uproots those weeds before they grow. When the feeling of "I already have it" is strong in you, time cannot shake it. It is also important to keep the inner image fresh. If the vision begins to fade, paint it again in your mind with clear strokes. See the exact numbers. Feel the texture of the bills. Hear the sound of the deposit notification. Smell the ink on the check. The more senses you involve, the more solid the reality becomes in the unseen, and the sooner it must cross into the seen. Let me remind you, there is no distance in spirit. What you have claimed exists immediately. Only the physical arrangement of delivery takes time, and even that time is shortened when your acceptance is total. Spirit does not need to be convinced. It is you who must be convinced. This is why I say, act as though you have already received. Spend in thought what you will spend in fact. Give in thought what you will give in fact. Speak as though the money is present, not coming, and do so without strain or forcing. Do it with the ease of one who knows the matter is settled. If doubt tries to enter, replace it at once with a word of power. You might say, "It is mine now by divine right," or "I have already received in the Spirit, and the outer must follow." These are not mere affirmations. They are legal declarations in the court of the unseen, and the law must uphold them. When you receive in the Spirit, you also quiet the restless mind. You stop checking for signs every moment, because you are already satisfied, and satisfaction is a magnet for completion. The restless seeker pushes the good away. The satisfied receiver draws it near. I tell you truly, if you make this your way, you will begin to notice something wonderful. The time between your decree and your manifestation will shorten. You will find that the law moves swiftly for the one who lives as though they already have, and as you practice, you will reach the point where the inner and the outer align so closely that your good appears with almost no gap at all. So in all your workings with the law of spiritual tagging, remember this final truth: the unseen is the real birthplace of your good. When you take it there, when you accept it there, when you rejoice there, the outer world has no choice but to match the inner, and when it does, you will simply nod and smile, for you will have been living with it all along. You have now been shown the whole pathway of this law, from the moment you name your desire with precision, to the sacred act of tagging it in the spirit as yours, to releasing the channel without releasing the claim, to guarding the soil of your mind from weeds, to speaking only words that affirm your possession, to receiving in the unseen before it touches your hand. These are not scattered teachings. They are one continuous golden thread of divine law. You have learned that the invisible world is the true marketplace, and you are free to step into it at any moment. You have learned that nothing is random. Not your words, not your thoughts, not the images you entertain. You have learned that the law does not choose for you. It simply grows what you plant. And you have learned that the moment you take ownership in spirit, the outer world is set in motion to deliver it. So I say to you now, begin today. Do not wait for the right mood, the right sign, or the right time. The time is now. The sign is your hearing these words. The mood will come as you obey the law. Tag your good in the unseen and call it by name. Hold it with the quiet certainty of one who knows the case is settled. And then, live as though you are already in possession, because in truth you are. Speak it, see it, bless it, thank it, and watch as the outer mirrors the inner with a swiftness that will astonish you. This is not my promise. It is the promise of the law, written into the fabric of the universe, waiting for you to claim it. Now go and put this law into action. Let this not be a teaching you admire, but a truth you live. The world is waiting to match the power of your decree. Call your money by name, and it will find you. And when it does, you will not be surprised. You will simply say, "Of course, I had it all along."
What if the biggest obstacle standing between you and your financial breakthrough wasn't your debt, your income, or the economy? What if the block was something you do every single day, almost without thinking? What if it was your worry? What if every anxious glance at your bank account, every whispered prayer of, "I hope there's enough," was actually a command, a sacred blueprint being handed to a universe that can only build what you show it? You have been, with divine precision, commanding your world to give you more reasons to worry. By the end of this video, you will hold these 3 master keys. You will understand how to stop accidentally building a prison of lack and begin consciously commanding the reality of your divine overflow. You will remember the language your soul already knows, the language that speaks your desired world into being. Stay with me, because your financial reclamation begins now. The great spiritual teacher Florence Scovel Shinn revealed one of the most direct and unforgiving laws of the universe. Your inner world is the cause, and your outer world is the effect. This is not a metaphor. It is a divine mechanic. Imagine that deep within you, in your subconscious mind, lives the most faithful and powerful servant in existence. Let's call this servant the Master Builder. This builder does not argue with you, it does not judge your desires, and it never, ever questions if you are worthy. Its only job is to take the blueprint you provide and build your physical reality to its exact specifications, day and night, without rest. The blueprint is made of your most dominant, deeply felt beliefs and words. For years, perhaps for a lifetime, you have been unknowingly handing the master builder a blueprint etched with the architecture of fear. A floor plan of "it's going to be a struggle." A design feature of "I never have enough." A foundation of "money is hard to come by." You may have even handed it contradictory plans, declaring with your mouth, "I want to be wealthy," while the deep feeling in your heart was broadcasting a signal of, "I'm terrified of not having enough." The builder, faced with these conflicting instructions, does its best. It builds you a life of inconsistency, a little bit of income, followed by a lot of unexpected expenses, a moment of hope, followed by a month of struggle. It builds chaos because it has been given a chaotic design. And your master builder, in its perfect impersonal love, has built you a life that perfectly matches that dominant, fearful design. You have experienced struggle. You have felt the constriction of not enough. You have found that money is indeed hard to come by. Listen closely, beloved, for here is the truth that will set you free. This is not a punishment. It is not bad luck. It is proof of your immense, unwavering power. You have been a magnificent creator your entire life. You have never once failed at this. You have been succeeding with breathtaking accuracy at creating a life that perfectly reflects your inner instructions. The power has been in your mouth and in your heart this whole time. Today, you are not learning a new power. You are not trying to acquire something you don't have. You are simply learning how to hand over a new blueprint, a clear, consistent, and divinely inspired design for a life of ease, freedom, and overflow. We will now do this with 3 sacred phrases that will cleanse the old design and establish the new one, giving your builder the clear and beautiful instructions it has been waiting for. So let us begin with the first and perhaps most liberating phrase of all. This is the key that unlocks the cage from the inside. Before you can build a beautiful new palace, you must clear the rubble of the old condemned structure. You cannot simply layer positive affirmations on top of a lifetime of deeply held beliefs in lack and expect a lasting change. You must first decide, with divine authority, that you are no longer available for the reality the old beliefs created. The first sacred phrase is your tool for this sacred demolition. It is the phrase that dissolves the energetic ties to a past that no longer serves you. The first sacred phrase is, "I release the old story." The old story is the library of limitation within your soul, the collection of memories, inherited beliefs, and painful experiences that have formed the very fabric of your reality of lack. The old story is the memory of your parents arguing about money late at night, a sound that taught your young and impressionable heart that money is a source of conflict and pain. It's the sharp, metallic sting of a past business failure that left an invisible scar on your soul, a scar that whispers, "You're not smart enough to handle great wealth, don't even try." It's the subtle, inherited belief from your grandmother, a woman you loved dearly, that good spiritual people are humble and poor, a belief that now causes you to subconsciously sabotage any significant financial gain to remain spiritual. The old story is the narrative you repeat to your friends over coffee, the familiar and almost comfortable tale of how you're always broke before payday, a story that gets you sympathy but reinforces your prison. It's the silent anxiety you feel when you see someone else's success on social media, the twinge of envy that is actually a powerful declaration to the universe that they can have it, but I can't. These stories, whether you speak them aloud or just replay them in the quiet cinema of your own mind, are not just dormant memories. They are living, breathing, energetic commands. Every single time you replay them, every time you give them your attention and your emotional energy, you are walking over to your master builder, handing it that same old coffee-stained, torn blueprint and saying, "Here, build me another day of this, please. I know it's painful, but it's the only design I know." But the moment you declare, "I release the old story," something miraculous begins to happen in the invisible realm. You are not fighting the story. You are not pretending it didn't happen. That would be futile. You are simply and powerfully withdrawing your divine energy from it. You are pulling the plug. You are taking the old blueprint out of the builder's hands and placing it gently into a sacred fire, watching it curl into ash and disappear into the nothingness from which it came. I know what the logical part of your mind might be saying right now. It is a clever and persistent voice. It might be whispering, "But it's true. I really did go through that bankruptcy. It's a fact. How can I release something that is a fact of my history?" This is a critical spiritual distinction you must now make. You are not releasing the historical fact that it happened. You are releasing its power to keep happening. You are demoting it. You are shifting it from its current role as a living prophecy that dictates your future to a new, powerless role as a closed chapter in your biography. It is an event that you learned from, but it is no longer the lens through which you view your entire financial world. Here is your first sacred task. This is how you begin to practice this divine release. The next time you feel the familiar pang of a negative money memory, when you catch yourself about to tell that same old tale of struggle to your partner or a friend, I want you to pause. This pause is everything. In this sacred space, you reclaim your power. Take a loving breath and speak this truth, either aloud if you are alone, or in the quiet sanctuary of your own heart. Instead of spiraling into shame over a past debt, you will feel the feeling, acknowledge it, and then gently say, "That was a lesson. It is over. I release the old story." Instead of reinforcing your family's belief in perpetual struggle when you talk to your mother, you will listen with love, but internally you will affirm, "That was their journey, and I honor it. But it is not mine. I release the old story." Instead of complaining to a friend about the high price of a bill, you pause before you speak, and inside your mind you declare, "This feeling of panic is a ghost from the past. It has no substance. I release the old story." This phrase is an act of supreme self-love. It is you, the master of your inner kingdom, deciding that you will no longer allow the ghosts of your past to design the palace of your future. When you do this consistently, you create a sacred emptiness, a clean slate, a polished and perfect inner mold. You are sending a clear message to your master builder. The old construction site has been cleared. Prepare for a magnificent new design. Now that the foundation has been cleansed of the old rubble, you must step into your rightful position as the divine architect. For too long, you may have lived under the powerful hypnosis of victimhood, believing you are at the mercy of your boss, the stock market, the government, or your circumstances. The language of this hypnosis is subtle and pervasive. It sounds like, "This just keeps happening to me," or "I have no choice but to take this low-paying job," or "With this economy, it's impossible to get ahead." These are the phrases of a spiritual prisoner, and they voluntarily hand your God-given power over to the shadows of the outer world. This second phrase shatters that hypnosis completely. It is the declaration of your spiritual sovereignty. It is you taking the divine pen and drawing the new blueprint with a firm and loving hand. It is you remembering that you are not a character reacting to the plot of your life, but its divine author. The second sacred phrase is, "I command my world to align." Now, Let us be very clear, because this is where many people stumble. That word, command, can feel uncomfortable, even arrogant at first. Your ego, which has been trained for years in the dialects of powerlessness and limitation, might immediately whisper, "Who are you to command anything? That's prideful. That's egotistical." You must understand, this is not a command coming from the small, fearful human ego that wants to control people and situations. That would be futile and draining. This is a command issued from the Christ within, from your own divine I Am presence, the center of God consciousness at the core of your being. It is a declaration of your alignment with a higher spiritual law. It is a statement of truth that overrides the appearances of fact. Think of a police officer standing in the middle of a busy intersection. She may be physically smaller and weaker than the drivers in the massive trucks that approach. But when she raises her hand, those trucks stop. Why? Is it because of her personal physical strength? No. It is because she is not acting in her own personal power. She is wearing the uniform and carrying the badge of a larger authority. Her command is backed by the entire power of the law she represents. In the very same way, when you speak this phrase, you are not being arrogant. You are metaphorically putting on the uniform of your divine nature. You are standing in your spiritual authority as a representative of the kingdom of God within, and commanding your outer world of effects to come into alignment with the divine, unchangeable law of abundance. The law of the universe states that you are a child of an infinitely wealthy source, and your divine inheritance is limitless good, limitless supply, limitless intelligence. Therefore, any situation, circumstance, or condition that appears to the contrary is, by definition, an illusion, a temporary shadow, a manifestation of the old, flawed blueprint you have just released. When you declare, "I command my world to align," you are speaking directly to these appearances, these illusions, and you are reminding them of the unshakable truth. You are taking a spiritual hammer, forged in the fire of your faith, and you are breaking the old hardened mold of poverty and limitation forever. This is how you use this powerful tool in your daily life. This is your second sacred task. When an unexpected bill arrives in the mail and you feel that familiar surge of adrenaline and fear in your chest, I want you to hold that bill in your hand. Look at it not as an enemy, but as an opportunity to practice your power. Take a deep breath to center yourself and declare with quiet, firm authority, "You are an appearance, a shadow cast by an old thought. You have no real power over me. I command my world to align with the unbreakable truth of my infinite supply. This bill is already paid in the mind of God, and so it is." When a client is late on a payment, and the voice of worry begins to creep into your mind, whispering tales of disaster, you will close your eyes and affirm, "Delay is a human invention, a shadow in the divine reality of instantaneous supply. It has no power here. I command my world to align with divine timing and perfect provision. The channel is clear, and my good flows to me freely." When you are facing a mountain of debt that seems impossible to climb, a mountain that has been there for years, you will stop seeing it as a permanent feature of your landscape. You will speak directly to that mountain of appearance and say, "In the name of my divine, I Am presence, I command you to be removed and dissolved into the nothingness from which you came. I command my world to align with my new reality of financial freedom. Now." This phrase is your spiritual weapon against the army of the aliens, as Florence Scovel Shinn called them, the fearful, doubtful thoughts that rise up from your subconscious to challenge your new state of consciousness. You do not plead with them. You do not negotiate with them. You do not get into an argument with them. You stand in your spiritual poise and you command them to be gone. The feeling behind this command is not anger or desperation. It is a calm, cool, unshakable peace. It is the quiet confidence of the queen upon the throne of her own life, who knows her word is law in her kingdom. When you consistently use this phrase with this feeling of quiet authority, your master builder receives a new, powerful, and unshakable directive. The instructions are no longer fuzzy, contradictory, or fearful. They are clear, sovereign, and filled with the irresistible power of divine law. The builder has no choice but to stop construction on the prison of lack and begin laying the foundation for the palace of your abundance. We have now cleansed the old foundation. We have drawn the new blueprint with divine authority. Now comes the final, most joyful part of our sacred work. This is the phrase that opens the windows of your soul and allows the light of heaven to flood in. It shifts you from the cramped, anxious posture of hoping and waiting into the expansive, magnetic reality of joyful receiving. For years, you have been expertly trained by the world to worry. Worry is simply the misuse of your creative imagination. It is the act of using your powerful faith to expect the worst possible outcome. It is a focused, detailed, and emotionally charged prayer for what you do not want. We must now turn this incredible power around and use it for its divinely intended purpose, to create a life of beauty, joy, and limitless good. The third sacred phrase is, "I expect my good to find me." This phrase is a subtle but profound shift from what you may have practiced before. It is not the same as hoping. Hope is a beautiful starting point, but it often lives in the distant future and carries with it a subtle energy of doubt. "I hope I get the job" implies a strong possibility that you might not. It is a prayer that is still hedging its bets. This is not the same as wanting. Wanting is a powerful statement of lack. To say, "I want more money," is to powerfully affirm to your subconscious mind and to the universe that you do not currently have it. You are focusing on the absence of the thing, which can only create more of that absence. Expecting is an entirely different spiritual posture. Expecting is a state of active, certain faith. It is the energy you feel when you have ordered a package from a trusted online retailer. You don't hope it arrives, you expect it. You don't spend your days worrying if it will show up. You go about your day with the calm certainty that it is on its way to you. You might even clear a space on your shelf for it. That is expectation. It is faith in action. When you declare, "I expect my good to find me," you are generating a powerful magnetic frequency. You are telling the universe, your master builder, and every particle of divine substance in creation that you are a ready and willing recipient. You are no longer broadcasting a signal of desperate need, but a signal of joyful readiness. You have cleared the space. You are preparing for its imminent arrival. Worry is the prayer for chaos. Expectation is the prayer for miracles. This powerful phrase must retrain your spirit to live in a state of joyful anticipation. You must begin to weave it into the very fabric of your day, turning mundane moments into opportunities for magic. This is your third sacred task. Before you open your email in the morning, instead of bracing for problems, I want you to take one breath, smile, and whisper, "I expect my good to find me in this inbox." You are now programming your mind to look for good news, for opportunities, for positive connections. As you walk into the grocery store, instead of immediately tensing up and bracing for the cost, you will walk through the automatic doors with a new affirmation. "I expect my good to find me in this store. I expect divine provision, unexpected discounts, perfect abundance, and for everything I need to be easily available to me." Before you go to sleep at night, which is a sacred time for programming the subconscious, instead of replaying the day's worries and anxieties, you will close your eyes and marinate in this beautiful feeling of anticipation. You will affirm, "As I sleep, I expect my good to find me. I expect brilliant ideas, creative solutions, and divine guidance to be revealed to me in my dreams and to be clear to me upon waking." When you practice this consistently, your entire energy field shifts. You become a beacon for your good. The universe, which operates on the law of correspondence, must bring you circumstances, people, and resources that perfectly match your new dominant expectation. It can no longer bring you a steady stream of reasons to worry because you are no longer broadcasting the frequency of worry. You are broadcasting the irresistible, high-frequency signal of joyful, certain faith. And you will be astonished at what happens. Divine opportunities will begin to appear as if from nowhere. The perfect idea that could transform your career will drop into your mind while you are washing the dishes. A check will arrive in the mail from a long-forgotten source. A person will call you with the exact solution to a problem you've been wrestling with for months. Do not call this luck. Do not call it coincidence. Know it for what it is. This is law. It is your own good, which has been waiting patiently in the wings for you all along, finally finding an open door, a clear signal, and a joyful, welcoming path directly to your side. So, here is your sacred practice. For the next 7 days, I want you to hold these 3 phrases like precious jewels in your heart and on your lips. They are your new tools of creation. Let's review them one more time. The first phrase, I release the old story, is your tool to cleanse the past and clear the foundation. The second phrase, I command my world to align, is your tool to shape the present moment and declare the truth. And the third phrase, I expect my good to find me, is your tool to magnetize your beautiful future. I invite you to enter into a sacred experiment with me, with yourself, and with the universe. For the next week, whenever you feel that old, familiar grip of financial fear, that tightening in your chest, that racing of your mind into worst-case scenarios, I want you to perform what I call the sacred pause. Stop what you are doing. If you can, place a hand over your heart to physically reconnect with your divine center. Take one slow, deep breath, breathing in peace and breathing out the old energy. And then, gently, lovingly, without judgment, choose the phrase that your soul needs most in that moment. If the fear is rooted in a past memory, whisper, I release the old story. If the fear is about a current circumstance that seems overwhelming, stand tall and affirm, I command my world to align. If the fear is a general anxiety about the future, soften your body and smile as you declare, I expect my good to find me. Do not force it. Do not fight your fear, for what you resist persists. Simply introduce this new, higher vibration into your consciousness. The old noise of lack will fade, not because you battled it into submission, but because you lovingly and consistently chose to tune your inner radio to a different, more beautiful station. The law is not activated by your perfection. It is activated by your participation. You don't have to believe it 100% at first. Your sincere willingness to try is enough to begin the shift. You are not trying to create something from nothing. You are simply remembering the truth of who you are and allowing the infinite good that is already yours by divine right to finally flow into your visible experience. The universe is listening. Your master builder is standing by, holding a fresh trowel, eager and ready, waiting for its new instructions. What new blueprint will you give it today? Let this very moment be your first powerful, conscious act of creating a new financial reality. Go to the space below this video and make your choice known. Declare to yourself, to this community, and to the divine intelligence of the universe, my financial story is rewritten now. And after you have made your declaration, I invite you to bookmark this video. Make a commitment to return here in a day or in a week and share one small shift, one tiny miracle. Share a moment you caught yourself in the old story and successfully released it. Share an unexpected discount you received, a coin you found on the street, a check that arrived in the mail, or even just a profound and lasting feeling of peace where anxiety used to live. Your testimony will not just solidify your own faith, it will become a beacon of possibility, a spark of hope for someone else who is just beginning their journey and needs to see that this divine law is real and it works. The old blueprint is finished. The pen is in your hand. The ink is your voice. Now speak.